Nintendo Switch Online adds these N64 games for expansion pack subscribers. Extreme G and Iggy's Wrecking Balls are out now for subscribers. Nintendo has announced the next set of classic Nintendo 64 games are out now for Nintendo Switch Online and expansion pack subscribers. The racing games Extreme G and Iggy's Wrecking Balls are now both playable. Originally released in 1997, Extreme G is a futuristic racing game made by the now defunct studio Probe Entertainment. Players can pick up items to attack enemies or defend themselves. As for Iggy's Wrecking Balls, this game originally came out in 1998, has players controlling a ball shaped character as they race to the finish line. There is local and online multiplayer. The N64 game catalog for Switch Online and expansion pack members also includes titles like Banjo-Kazooie, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, GoldenEye 007, Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Mario Golf, and many more. You can see the full list below. Subscribers can also buy the $50 Nintendo 64 Classic controller that plugs into the Switch to better replicate the original experience. A subscription to Switch Online expansion pack costs $50 a year and comes with a variety of perks beyond the N64 games. Players also get access to online play, cloud saves, the Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass, the Animal Crossing New Horizons Happy Home Paradise expansion, and access to libraries of classic SNES, NES, Game Boy Advance, and Sega Genesis games. Nintendo fans are looking forward to what's coming next, and that includes a heavily rumored Switch successor. It remains officially unannounced, but key details have emerged. For more, check out GameSpot's rundown of everything we know about the Switch 2. So, as of April 24th, these are the N64 games you can play on Switch if you have the most expensive tier of their online games. These are just the N64 games. 1080 Snowboarding, Banjo Kazooie, Blast Corps, Dr. Mario 64, Excite Bike 64, Extreme G, F Zero X, GoldenEye 007, Harvest Moon 64, Iggy's Wrecking Balls, Jet Force Gemini, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, Mario Golf, Mario Kart 64, Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3, Mario Tennis, Paper Mario, Pilot Wing 64, Pokemon Puzzle League, Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Stadium 2, Sin and Punishment, Star Fox 64, Super Mario 64, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Wave Race 64, Winback, Covert Operations, and Yoshi's Story.
Hmm.
So let's look at the comments. Um, and I'm gonna sort them by, I guess, upvotes. Dushness goes, this should be like Game Pass, where you can still buy the individual games if you wanted, rather than getting them behind sub. Plump goes, agreed, it's a really dumb business decision by Nintendo to lock certain games behind a subscription. Why can't I do a one-time purchase to keep these games forever? Why do I have to pay a monthly fee to play them? At least with PlayStation Plus, you get to keep the games you added to your library even after you cancel the subscription. And Bloodlust22 goes, are you really asking why? Why do you think? It's about money. Nintendo is a money grubbing company and wants to milk you for as much money as they can. This would be why I refuse to buy anything Nintendo. Okay, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go first on this one.
Definitely.
Um, just because I do have experience with one of the games. I have played and reviewed Extreme G. Honestly, it's to put it to put it short and sweet. It's kind of like a poor man's version of F Zero. The cars don't look like cars. They look, I don't know. They look like someone twisted a bunch of metal into different directions and said, "This is a car." Um, you're going like thousands of kilometers per hour. Um, yeah, I played it. I did not enjoy it. Iggy's Wrecking Balls, I don't even remember hearing about that. I thought that was like something to do with Iggy as one of the sons of Bowser from Super Mario. So Iggy's Wrecking Balls, I have no idea what that game is. Have you played either of these games?
I heard of Iggy before as a game back of the Nintendo system back in the '80s, but that's about it.
Okay, so with all the games that I did read, would you be interested in getting a Nintendo Switch and signing up for this $50 a year? Keep in mind, unlike Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, you could only play these games for as long as your subscription lasted.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Like you have to be very wealthy if you want to continue buying it every year for the rest of your life. That is.
Yeah.
So my best bet is to get the original cartridges for a certain pricing at
Yep.
flea market if I can, because that's my best chance to get the cheap and better versions of themselves, which is the original version on the N64, and they still work like a magic still, in my opinion. Because when I was at flea market back in I would say the year 2000. My friend got Fear Effect for PlayStation 1 for not even $15. So it's kind of good. And I myself, I think I bought like a $5 game, some random $5 game also available on the Super Nintendo or PlayStation 1. I'm not sure which one. But yeah, the flea market is your best bet. The garage sales are your best bet too.
Garage
Uh,
sales, maybe. Flea markets, I don't know. I haven't seen many around when I was in New York. So, I mean,
yeah,
they used
you
to
gotta go
have
to like
one
Pennsylvania
once
for
a
that.
year in the Valley Stream parking lot of the Valley Stream pool. Like this was like in September or the end of September when the pool had always shut down. They used to turn that parking lot into a flea market for one weekend. I wish they did it all the year round, or at least while the pool was unoperational during the winter, spring, and fall. But no, other than that, I really don't know of any flea markets around in New York. I don't know if it's gotten any better or worse since then.
Well, the flea markets I'm talking about is over by the Poconos in Pennsylvania.
Oh,
Uh, Yeah,
okay.
sorry to specify at the time. But yeah, that's where my mom and I would go every year for a few years back in the 2000s, early 2000s, late 90s, and we get these deals at the supermarket, these flea markets and all. The last flea market I could think of that I can't go to get some good deals for electronic sales and stuff like that, or anything electronic, was a flea market over by Jamaica Avenue in southeast Queens, New York, where I kind of pretty much live, my whole life. And those are good places to go to as well. But it's been years now because now it's been taken over by commercial state, and you see these stores like H&M and what's it called, Jimmy Jazz and Rockaware and stuff like that. These urban related brand name stores, not too far from me by bus. So that's about it really.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
agree. I agree with what Dr. Games 101 said, where you should you know, you might want to keep the subscription if you just happen to have a Switch and you want to play it. You play the Switch anyway, so you say, you know, why not get the why not get the expansion service? But there's only so long you can keep the subscriptions going, especially with today's economy. You might be better off in the long run financially playing the getting an N64 and building up your collection, a game here, a game there. I already got Wave Race on the N64 that I can play anytime I want. Um, so I'm gonna be building up my collection. Maybe not as fast as I thought I would be at the beginning of the year because I just got a new job like a month ago, and this like in 6 days I'll be getting my second paycheck because it's every 2 weeks. But yeah, long run it'd probably be better unless subscriptions. Some people they cut cable and they just get a few subscription services and say this is what I have to watch. So maybe we're thinking the old way. Um,
yeah, definitely us older adults, because most of Nintendo Switch fans are considered 30 plus year olds. So
yeah, but like I said, also unfortunately you have to be online to access this service. So like if your internet goes out, you're screwed. If my internet goes out, I can play my N64 anytime I want. I can play my Sega Genesis or my PlayStation 2 anytime I want. Um, I don't need it to be online. So,
Mhm.
or actually, online gaming was in its infancy in the PS2. It wasn't as common as it was even in the PS3 360 era. So PS
Definitely.
so like PS2 was kind of um, the last generation. You were just getting into where um, online gaming was still a niche. I still had a niche following, um, in the PS2 era. But by I think PS3 and 360 online gaming had become that's when it became mainstream.
Yeah,
So
PS2 online game was not marketed to the general public or to vast other niche audience and stuff like that. So you're right, Triple
right,
J, because back in the 2000s, we hear games like SOCOM and Resident Evil File Outbreak. Those other games have online playability and all, but they didn't market it properly to us guys at the time to buy the expansion pack or that Ethernet related device to
yep,
connect to our PS2s at the time
yep. I
or to get
remember.
the PS Slims, you know.
I remember that on the if you had the fat model first model PS2, you had to take off that like back tab and like screw on that internet adapter and then plug an Ethernet cable into that thing. And I don't and I had to get a Slim because the original PS2 I had died. So
Yeah,
um, but like I said, when we were getting games like SOCOM or Resident Evil Outbreak, File Number One, or anything, we were just we were just going with what's on the disc. They really didn't mention what were the extras online.
hmm
So yeah, but anyway, like I said, it's all up to you what you can afford. Um, but yeah, so it's really if you what you can afford and if you like these games. Keep in mind there's never going to be a day where every N64 game is on there. I would love if they could somehow get WWF No Mercy on the expansion on the Switch expansion N64 library, but we know that's not going to happen. So uh,
with a license issue, I bet too.
licensing, not to mention, they probably couldn't do it if they unless they updated the roster, and then you got 2K that owns the rights to WWE, so I mean they would have to be okay with the game being re-released. So it's again, it's basically if you like the games they offer, um, or or maybe you just get an N64 yourself and get a game here, get maybe one or two games a month, get here one or two games a month there of the games you like, depending how expensive they are, and build your collection that way.
Oh yeah,